So you either have to choose between the government or the public at this point.
Anthropic has until Friday to cave, and if they don't, they'll suffer consequences.
It's Sophie's choice, baby.
This is another really juicy story where at first I was kind of like, what is this? And then when you get into it, you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I could absolutely see this being turned into a miniseries. So news broke that apparently the military, who has a $200 million contract with Anthropic, was having a hard time getting Anthropic to agree to modify Claude to do certain tasks that Anthropic deemed against their policy. It's very vague on what that ask was, but apparently this all started back when rumors got around to Anthropic that the DoD, or the Department of War, quote unquote, used Claude to kidnap the Venezuelan president. So Claude started asking questions, and I think that started some back and forth that eventually led Anthropic to denying requests from the military to customize Claude to do certain things. It's speculated that this news broke by the government themselves because they wanted to put pressure on Anthropic. So Anthropic is saying, sorry, but we're not going to help you use our models, our AI models. Our policy says you can't use our tech to surveil domestically, and you can't use our tech to basically make kinetic weapons without a human in the loop. And that's clear in their policy in the contract that Anthropic signed with the DoD. So I guess it all came to a head, and then Pete Hegseth went to the press to put pressure on them and said to the press, if Anthropic doesn't get in line and ignore their policies and let us do what we want, they are a risk to national security, so they better get in line. And if they don't, we're going to obviously work to cancel the contract, but we're also going to label you a supply chain risk. And when you label a company a supply chain risk, nobody in the government is allowed to even touch them, which is it's basically a company killer. And it's usually reserved for Russian bot spy malware companies that are a literal danger to the country, and they are threatening them with this. So when I first heard the story, I had a big eye roll because, when you're look, I'm a little conspiratorial out the gate sometimes, and I have to sort of be talked down and read the facts. So when I first heard the story, I was super annoyed because Anthropic, what did they think was going to happen when they signed a $200 million contract with Trump's administration?
It's the fucking Department of War, bitches. You basically did a deal with the devil, and now you're like, he's got us by the balls.
100%. He knew what he was getting into. And also, Palantir and the government have been working together forever.
If you're new here and you're new to this whole conversation about tech, Palantir, Peter Thiel's company, literally the worst fucking company in the world that is openly they're not trying to win over the public. They are straight up openly out there saying, we're happily evil and making tons of money. We're surveilling all of you, collecting your data. And they've literally come out and said they're happy to kill people if they, they're happy with that. If the people deserve to die and their technology helps them get killed, cool. So anyway, just a little sidebar for our newbies here. But Anthropic is the opposite of that. They're trying very hard to be the company that stands out as the one that the public trusts more than any other company, which so far they've been doing pretty well at, I think.
100%. I think they're really committing to the safety brand, while OpenAI is shitting all over it.
So this is a fucking what the fuck do you do in this situation? Your whole mission has been to show the public that you are the ones that can be trusted. So you either have to choose between the government or the public at this point. It's fucking Sophie's choice, baby. Sophie's choice.
That's going to be the next episode is called because, and that's why this is so juicy. And so Pete Hegseth and Dario Amodei, they had a meeting on Tuesday, and we don't really know what was said in that meeting, but they came out of it, and Pete Hegseth told the press, Anthropic has until Friday to cave, and if they don't, they'll suffer consequences, and we may even label them a supply chain risk. And here's what's interesting. let's say the military was like, fuck you, we're going to cancel our contract. It's a $200 million contract. Losing that contract sucks for Anthropic, but it's not the end of their business. Like they will not go down. What will hurt them is if they're labeled a supply chain risk, or if the Trump administration just decides to go even more ham and hurt them.
Do you know if any of the other AI companies like OpenAI or, Google or whatever, do they have contracts with the Department of War?
That's a very good question. Yes, they do. However, Anthropic's contract is special because they are the only company that has a separated. I gotta stop doing emu hand.
Emu.
I have emu hand. If you're watching the video, when I am doing a rant, my little emu friend comes out, and he's my safety emu friend, and he just hangs out here while I talk.
It's your emotional support emu for when you get fired up.
And he sometimes looks at me. Okay. But Anthropic is set up Claude for the military on a separate, totally private server for classified work. So they are the only classified work approved AI, which is hard to do. To set that up is really hard. So the reason that they have to even have this argument is because the military's fucked if Claude goes away, because they don't have a backup plan, and that's really hard work. They are working to diversify that. And this is what most big companies that engage with AI at an enterprise level do, is diversify. You'll often find that big corporate companies don't have one contract with one AI, frontier AI. They have them with multiple because it's actually less risky and they want the best of the best. And it's just good to diversify there. And that's actually mandated by Biden and the Biden administration, that the government diversifies their AI contracts. But the problem is they only have Claude set up at a classified level.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. So they have a little bit of leverage. Because if the government wants to be like, fuck you, bitch, you're out of here, you're shitlisted, they're going to have to kind of start from scratch and with their...
100%.
Okay.
So there is a little bit we don't really know how this is going to come out, but I often when Trump makes sure that anyone he's in a negotiation battle with doesn't have leverage, and if they win, then they suffer even more sometimes.
Yeah.
Yep. But if they label Anthropic a supply chain risk, they are in big trouble. But it's a really juicy story, and I'm really excited to see what happens Friday, because I really don't know. Do you have a prediction on what you think is going to happen? I have no clue.
I really think, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think if Dario folds and bends the knee for Hegseth, I think this story will ripple out. And as we've talked about before, we feel like Anthropic has been playing the long game in terms of gaining trust with the public. It sat back and it wasn't the front runner. While ChatGPT, everybody was using that as their default LLM. When you thought of AI, you literally thought of ChatGPT. It was one and the same. And they were playing the long game and slowly building trust and building their brand. And I think that would all be just completely flushed down the toilet if he bends the knee. If I was Dario, I would be like, fuck it, we've played the long game this far and we're going to keep playing the long game. And if that means we get on the shit list, what do you call it? A public...
the supply chain risk.
Supply chain risk. If that means we get on the supply chain risk for 3 years or 2.5 years, so be it. And then hopefully when the next administration comes in, praise be, it won't be the Republican Party if we even get another election. But hopefully at that point, Anthropic would be the front runners. Hopefully. Maybe I'm fucking completely naive and delusional, but you would think it would look good for an administration who wants the public to sort of try to get on board with AI.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To partner with an AI company that was trusted. That would be a great look for a new administration to be like, hey, remember how these assholes who were trying to surveil you, and this AI company said, no, we are not going to surveil the public. And then who knows what will happen? Maybe they'll go to OpenAI and Sam Altman will be waiting in the wings being like, we'll help you surveil. But what a great hero arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a great hero counterproductive for
You're
the government
so right.
to say like, hey, you know what? Like, we're now going to partner with this company who rejected the idea of surveilling you so you can trust all of us. We're the trustworthy ones. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be bullshit a bit. They're still going to fucking like be doing shady shit. All governments do, all big tech companies do. But it would be a great look. It would be a great fucking look.
Totally.
For everybody.